Welcome to the Bears on Tap Offensive Line Film Room, bringing you all 22 views and breakdowns on the Chicago Bears offensive line. Presented by Quentin Q. Crisco and the one and only Ron Luce.
Hello, I am just finishing my tweet of this episode, so please don't mind me there. Inspiration hit. My name is Quentin Crisco. I am joined by Coach Ron Luce. Ron, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, buddy. I've missed you. I enjoy watching the Building the Board episodes, albeit having a very, 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 very small piece of that. I enjoy listening to you and Steve and Luke and all the boys and Tommy really get after it and talk, all these draft prospects. But I'm not going to lie to you. I missed you. I missed these shows, and it feels good to be back with you, man. I'm excited to talk Bears. I'm excited to talk, some O-line stuff. But we're doing it with a twist. And this is a genius idea by you to get us on for this one tonight. I'm looking forward to it, man. But how are you? I've missed you. How has your month been of breathing finally since the draft has concluded?
I've missed you too, brother. It has been, I needed some sleep. I needed some time away. I got it. And now I'm like itching to find like what type of content can we make, right? Because this is the worst time of the year for content. This is like, there is nothing to talk about. I can't bang my head against a wall and write an article about Caleb Williams. Did he want to be here? Like, did he want to go to Minnesota? I can't, that clickbait, I can't do it the same way. So I'm just racking my brain trying to find things that I can do, right? And so today's episode is about something that we can do and feel good about, and that is taking a look at Dennis Allen's defensive fronts. So we're watching Saints tape here, because on third downs, we're watching all third downs here. On third downs, Dennis Allen tries to mess up protection schemes. And as I was digging through the Dennis Allen tape, I was sitting there going like, it'd be great to hear O-line perspective on this stuff, because a lot of it, there's not a right answer. And they're just trying to make the best of it, because as you can see here, you get 9 guys or 8 guys up on the line of scrimmage, all looking like they're coming. You don't have 8 to block. You just don't. So hence there's no right answer. And so that's our purpose today, to talk through the O-line aspect of it. Hopefully you guys get a taste of what is to come from the Dennis Allen defense on these third down situations. But at the same time, gain some understanding myself. I want to gain some insight from you, Ron, about how these rules work when they're put in these impossible situations as an offensive line.
Definitely. And I'll preface this. There's, I think, going to be a lot of chatter that we have tonight where some of it's also going to depend on the quarterback and team philosophy. Teams are going to attack the looks differently, just as any position, right? Every position's coached differently on every team. And, some guys, right, you have like the disciples of people, right? Like that's very big in coaching, like the coaching tree guys. So you might see, Jeff Stoutland with the Eagles, maybe he and, I don't know, let's say they're not of the same tree, but like, let's say him and Andy Heck of the Chiefs are the same. Then you might see similarities between how they call out protections and things like that. But a lot of times with a lot of these O-line coaches, because they come from all kind of walks of life in a lot of ways, if that makes sense, you really do see them attack things differently. So I think there's
ways to skin the cat type.
Exactly. That's one thing to keep in mind here, because a lot of it is going to come from what I've learned as a player and now as a little bit of as a coach, and where we want to attack and where we feel comfortable. But some of it's also on the quarterback and what he's seeing and where he feels comfortable in terms of pressure being attacking and things like that. So we'll preface all that as we go through these, but I'm excited, man. This is going to be fun. And I think too, just as you're excited to get a taste of the Dennis Allen defense, I am too, because I didn't watch a lot of Saints games, unless they were playing the Carolina Panthers or the Buccaneers, who are two teams that I enjoy personally watching. I don't really watch a lot of Saints football. So I'm going to learn just as much, I think, as you are, sir, in various ways. Just seeing what we're seeing and kind of the fun wrinkles we might see from the Bears here in 2025.
Yeah, exactly. And so in the next few weeks, hopefully, me and Nick DeMeo will also be putting out a show where we get into some of the more gritty details of the trends that we've seen from Dennis Allen as we've gone through. I've gone through 5 games of 24 from him. I know Nick's working through some of the 2023 stuff, and I'm actually looking back at some of the 2023 as well. So hopefully we'll have some good insight for you guys on that. But let's let this tape roll. And so I got the wide view here, or the sideline view, just to show the
alignment.
No, how, like, go back and see, where were certain guys aligned. But this is really what I'm interested in.
Yeah, man.
And there's a lot of communication going on here. You have 8 guys for the Saints up on the line of scrimmage. And Ron, let's see, rewound it a bit. What do you think they're saying? Like what are they thinking, right? Or if they were your offensive line, what would you be wanting them to say?
I'd wanted them to communicate first and foremost, because sometimes younger offensive linemen don't know how to talk. But these are professionals, Q. They know how to talk. I'm telling you what, there's a lot of, because it's the center that dictates a lot of it. I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like, center at lower levels of football is a hard position, but not necessarily harder than anything else. But when you get to the pro level, there's so much an additional cerebral aspect to center in a lot of offenses, not every offense, but a lot of offenses. Juergens has been there long enough, like, he knows what he's doing. So there probably is a lot of aspect of his responsibility that is calling protections and kind of maybe not necessarily being the guy to call the protection per se, but at least orchestrating the thought process behind how we're going to protect things. And the way I see this from here, there's a couple different routes you could take. Obviously, we'll see Kenneth Gainwell motion into the backfield, but that is the first thing we need to know, right? This is essentially, it's an empty set originally, but it's a 3x2 with 3 to the wide side of the field. So as soon as you bring in the running back here, I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, I can tell you how the Eagles are attacking it. So I know the right answer because I've already seen this play. But I'm going to tell you how, if I'm looking at it from fresh set of eyes, I'm looking at this and saying, well, we got 3 guys to the far side here on the open hash, to the field side.
So you're saying 1, 2, 3?
Yes, exactly. So I'm more concerned about those guys because we also have 3 receivers. So there's an aspect here where, Hurts is probably looking at this and saying, well, I got my back on the left side and I feel okay about that. But I personally would probably move the back to the right side and say, hey, you're just an extra hand. Whoever comes free, take them.
Okay.
And then we can figure out the middle. I also don't hate the way he's going about this either, though, because now that Gainwell has motioned in, there's 3 guys on the open side of the field and there's nobody out there.
Right. And that's my thought process with it, of like, as long as he can keep his blind side clean, he's like, I can beat whoever's coming because there's going to be no one guarding guys.
Bingo. And that's the thing, right? There's one, and you saw it on the wide side of the field. So you see 23 kind of up at the top left corner of the screen. He is one of your DBs here. And then it's just another corner that's playing off, and that's about it. So that a few of these guys are going to have to bail. There's no choice. They're coming with pressure in hopes of beating essentially you to the punch. Really is what this would probably be.
Which is a Dennis Allen, right?
100%.
I mean, and he's not going to spoiler alert. He's not going to send all these guys.
No.
But a big thing for Dennis Allen is he wants to be the aggressor. He wants to throw the punch. He doesn't want to sit back and take it.
Exactly. So you kind of look at this, and I think the way Hurts is calling it out, he's saying, okay, hey, Gainwell, I want you to check that backer, because you see him pointing at Demario Davis, so number 56 there in the middle of the screen. More so in the NFL than anywhere that I've seen, teams really like to use the back against linebackers. They don't like using the back to like the outside of the protection, if that makes sense. So yeah, exactly how you're drawing it there, the red line. You rarely will see teams use the back to protect a guy coming off the edge. That's just what I've seen, right? So he's saying, okay, Gainwell, that's your guy. So as soon as that's identified, Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson know they've got the two guys probably to the outside. If
They've got
both,
as wide as it gets.
there's a
Right?
check
That's
there.
what you're saying.
Yeah. In the very general rule, and anybody that's ever played offensive line, been around offensive line, has probably heard this before. In this instance, it's get depth and sort out the shit is what it is. So in this case, I would want, as an offensive line coach, Mailata and Dickerson, so my left tackle and left guard, to be taking more of a vertical pass set than a wide pass set.
Right.
And then,
especially when one of those guys is a corner, you're like, I'm not worried about him busting me back as long as I'm clean with my feet and my anchor, right? Like, it's just don't let him get on my edges. And
I'll tell you what, especially for the Eagles, I'll be brutally honest with you. I've watched a nauseating amount of Eagles offensive line film. Mailata is going to be able to get there and also then get outside because how quick he is with his feet. There's no concern about that side of the field. We know Gainwell's got the backer. So then from there, the rule applies as such. It's, Juergens, you got that guy that's head up on you. You're locked, is what the term would be. Becton has the backer, assuming he's coming. And then Lane has the next most dangerous guy, which is always the most inside guy. So in this case, it would be number 96. But if that backer bails, they can talk it out and, out, and then try to pick up another
something more like that. It just depends on how quick you see it and how quick you react, right?
Exactly. And to your point, there is a very real chance here, because you could also use the tight end in blocking too. They're not going to on this play. Spoiler alert. But you could, right? To your point, Jalen Hurts knows he has one man he's got to beat. That's the quarterback's guy. The way outside corner, I think that's number 1 there on the right side of the screen. That's quarterback's man. Ideally speaking, you would have something that's a hot route behind that, especially when you have 3 receivers to that field side. Maybe that inside guy's running a quick check. They ultimately have it with Goddard here, where he kind of does like a late release and kind of cuts across the field. But we'll see by the result of the play that might not have been the best way to give a check down to Hurts in this situation. But that's the general rule of thumb. It's always block inside out, right? Most dangerous. And then it's get depth and sort it out and communicate, especially when you're just using a 6-man protection, which you absolutely know they are because they motioned Gainwell into the backfield and Hurts is pointing out the linebacker.
Yeah. So let's see how this plays out then from here. So we've got both the backers getting depth.
Bailed.
Corner bluffing. The left corner on the left side of the screen is bluffing. We're only sending 5.
Only sending 5. But that 3 to the wide side of the field is a real MF for protection here, because now Gainwell has to adapt because his guy bailed.
Right.
So
his guy was Davis right here.
Right. So he's now got to look for work.
He's looking back at the corner, it looks like, of like, is that my guy? Like, should I help there? Should I help someplace else?
I think that's the right move for Gainwell, because when he was outside, that corner was hovering over him. The whole reason that corner comes in the line of scrimmage is because, also because Gainwell walks in. So they know that something game is coming. We want the back to protect. Yeah. Now, this is being blocked accordingly. Like, I know there's going to be people at home that are yelling, well, why is Juergens, when that guy leaves and crosses his face, not going outside? Well, because the rule of thumb is, if you are locked in the protection, if you're a covered guy, which Cam Juergens was because he had a nose tackle over head up on him, that is your guy. You are locked. You're locked up. So he has to get him. Now, Dickerson can help him here if, as you can see, the corner's not really coming. We know Mailata is one-on-one with Chase Young. Dickerson has the 2-way go of, I get to tee off on somebody for free.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, he's probably going to help protect because Juergens has the guy crosses his face.
It looks like
Dickerson's got the double stop signs out. He's going to feel that coming.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. The double stop sign reference.
Can
you explain that for a second?
So the double stop signs is when you're pass setting. I wish I could stand up and people could actually see me. I'm going to do my best here. So when you're pass setting, right? When you're kicking, bah, bah, the double stop signs, you say like, you know how you would tell people to stop, like, whoa, stop,
Yeah.
stop, stop. The double stop signs, you're out here. It's a feel thing for linemen, and your hands are always at the ready. So if you're the uncovered guard, which in this case is Dickerson, kick. Oh, I feel nobody coming. I'm going to feel here. Oh, I feel that inside pressure coming. Now I can boom, and I can step up and I can help with Juergens. And then what O linemen are taught is if I'm contacting here, my eyes are outside. Because if that DN stunts inside, the most fun thing about playing offensive line in the world could happen. You get a free tee shot at guys because it doesn't happen very often. So if you got a free tee shot, you take it. And that's what Dickerson's doing here. So that's the double stop sign reference. And you'll see a lot of guys do that. And people are like, why is that a thing? It's a spacing thing. Offensive line is all about technique and space when it's all said and done. So Juergens is doing the right thing here. That's his man. Dickerson knows he's there to help. Milana's 1-on-1 on the left side. So we got the left side and the center spot locked down. Becton's got his eyes in the right spot. He sees 96 coming across Lane Johnson's face.
Looks like coming. He's cutting inside on there into him, so doesn't have to move too much.
And here's the beauty. And I'll tell you what, I learned this so much more during spring ball this year because I never thought about defense. And then I saw it enough and I was like, what are we doing? Why are we overcomplicating defense as a protection? Because if one guy's coming and another guy's leaving, guess what's happening? Somebody's got to replace his gap because all defense is gap control. So if I'm Juergens, oh, this guy's crossing my face, you could in theory say, well, I can pass him off to Dickerson and then look backside because there should be somebody coming a gap.
Yeah.
Which in this case, it looks like 96 is trying to do that. And Beckman could try and pass him off.
Dennis Allen loves his bigs to be able to hop gaps laterally. It's a big thing for him.
So they're sifting it out. Like to start, it looks okay. Hindsight is 2020. This is where you would probably want the back on the right side because everybody else bailed and you got that free rusher coming now on the outside. But this is also a situation where if you're Dallas Goedert, I almost want him to. I get the hesitation of what the purpose of it is. I'd want him breaking and just cutting that thing off right now because if that guy's coming free, Hurts wants to get rid of the football. Yeah. He's not going to be able to because there's a slight delay, and you'll see it as you run the clip. But that's kind of the thought process as this thing's coming here. And it's a shame for Becton just gets beat across his face. And that's rough. It's a good block here by Johnson. I think Gainwell does a phenomenal job recovering. Like, this is why Kenneth, like, if people are wondering why Kenneth Gainwell keeps getting jobs in the NFL, this is why. Because that's a hell of an effort.
Getting beat is really what kills this, I think.
Yeah.
And Gainwell almost saves it, but Hurts' inability to step up there because of Becton getting beat. Right. And I mean, granted, again, this is where, I mean, Dennis Allen just created really tough situations to win. Becton's the only guy who I'm sitting here going, like, it could have been better, but like, it's also a heck of a play from Granderson there to be able to even hop that space.
It is. I mean, that's a tough play to make, and he covers a lot of ground. I mean, covering effectively 3 gaps is big time. I mean, that's tough.
Especially when you think of it from the standpoint of these Saints defenders. I'm making an assumption here, but I'm assuming that Dennis Allen is coaching them up is saying he's going to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts is only going to have one place to go, and that's up. Granderson, I need you to kill that. I need you to squash that. You have one job on this play, and that's to get inside of Becton's inside shoulder and just muck up that territory so he has nowhere to go.
Bingo. Yeah, and this is really well schemed out. Like, just the result of the play, and I mean, it's blocked as best as you can get. Sometimes the defense just wins, man. That's just the nature of football.
Well, and I mean, if this is the pretzel that Dennis Allen will put on your rules, right? But
Right.
he is going to bend them. He is going to break them. He is going to make you pay for having sound pass protection rules because there's no right answer.
Mm-mm.
You know, if they drop other guys out and bring other guys sometimes, like it's not so much the threat of engage 8, as he'd say in Madden, as it is that any of those 8 could be the guy, and they all need to be accounted for in some fashion. At least the most dangerous men, as he put it.
Definitely. And I think this is something that fans and of the Bears, listeners of our show, if you tuned into any of our O-line breakdowns, especially when the Bears played the Vikings last year, you got a taste of it with Brian Flores, but he's a big 7 guy, right? It's not 8, it's 7. But it's the exact same thing. It's bringing pressure from different places. And that's just how they attack. And Dennis Allen's the same way. The idea, football is you want to get pressure to the quarterback, right? You got to make the same things look different and the different things look the same, right? That's exactly what this is. It's, hey, play a guessing game of who's coming and take your odds, right? It's almost like a baseball pitcher, right? Well, I can go this way with a breaking pitch. I have a pitch that breaks away from you, and then I have just straight gas right down the dick, right? You're going to take a calculated guess as to what I'm going to throw and do your whatever your best swing is in that zone to try and match that. It's the same idea. You're putting together your protection rules and you're sifting it out and because this is also based on formation too, right? You have to adapt based on what personnel you have on the field. If they're running 2 tight ends, this is easy. The tight ends are staying in the block, and it becomes a 2-man route. And if Hurts has to take off and get 4 yards, he does. But because of the personnel that they have in on the play, you have to adjust appropriately, and you take your calculated swings. And this is a good swing by Dennis Allen to take care of business.
That it is. I'm one last thing on this play. You see the importance of linebackers who can get depth quickly.
Yeah.
In this defense. Like, I mean, those 2 guys.
Davis is 17 yards downfield, like 2 seconds after the ball's down.
Well, and look at where Hurts' head is at. He's looking for this. He's looking for this little curl right here.
Yep.
And he's just taking it away. So there's nothing there to be had. That's going to be important in this. Or I guess maybe a slant, but either way, it wasn't there anymore because the linebacker got that depth.
Can I just throw a little tinket in because you are the draft guy, Q?
Yeah.
This play is exactly why Ruben Hypolite was the 4th round pick of the Chicago Bears.
It is.
Because he's an athlete.
And I'm not like I still haven't gone back and watched the Hypolite tape because I'm more interested in seeing what he does on the grass at this point than analyzing what he did previously.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that he is one of the he fits this mold.
He sure does. I watched a little bit of Hypolite tape, not a lot. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I watched 7 games. I watched about 2 games. I watched 2. Yeah, the hypo hype of the Hypolite. I watched enough to now seeing this of going, I get why he's here. And he might not start, but he's a guy that you can rotate in and give different looks and packages with.
Dennis Allen has gone through linebackers like crazy of just guys who are athletic and that it's not even aside from DeMario Davis, he's the rock there, but the guys around DeMario Davis, just athletes who can find their spot. Mm-hmm. The instincts don't have to be that great. They don't have to be forces in the run game or these outstanding coverage players. They can take away that route, and that's all you need at some points, and that's all he cares about in some of these plays.
Yeah. Well said.
All right, so here's our next one. We got a similar look. We got 1, 2, 3, 6 guys threatening, really.
Yep. Yeah, and they give it away here too, that it looks like it's some variation of a zone. It probably is man because you got that corner running with Evans on the quick motion. So that's another thing too.
Dennis, I'm not sure on this play. Dennis Allen will play
disguise
with that. He will play with you with that, which is another thing I love. He does not make it as black and white. It's just the motion guy moves it, so it's got to be man.
Well, and that's why he's had success though against some of these Sean McVay-esque coaches, right? Because they rely on motion to help identify coverage.
Yeah.
If you can disguise it with, we're going to run with a receiver and show man at the line of scrimmage, but then drop into a cover 4, or a cover 6, then that's going to, develop a lot of that. But
I'd have to go back and look. He kicked Tom Brady's ass a lot.
Yeah, he did.
I bet you that's part of it. Like not just, it's not as simple as the motion aspects, but like that concept of, we're not going to let you know what we're doing just because you think you know what we're doing.
Bingo. Yeah. I was going to say, if anybody gave Brady fits, it was Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
So that shows you here. Now, this one makes my heart sing, because I look at this knowing I've got Bucky Irving probably in protection here.
Mm-hmm.
I would use him in protection if I see 6 guys. Bucky has I believe that's a safety who's come down to blitz, or at least show blitz.
Yeah, threaten it a little.
And then we are just playing good old man-on-man football. Tackles, you got the most outside guys. Guards, you got the next most outside guys. Center, you're by yourself if Davis comes. Otherwise, look for work. And that's exactly how I would treat it here. So everybody's got different calls for it of what like 5 up is essentially. And that's exactly what it would be here. Is it's just the back's got the DB if he comes. If he doesn't come, then the back can probably have an option
or whatever.
Yeah, he's probably got an option to leak out. And then it's just man on man. And if any of those guys don't come and you become uncovered, go look for work.
So Ron, you say it that way. That makes it feel real simple. But what if I told you that I've got, I assume this is Granderson out here, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it is, but I'm just going to make
I think it is. I think you're right. That looks like 96.
Granderson's got long arms. Luke Hideki, short arms.
Not so much.
I'm going to have Granderson try a long arm move as wide as he can, and then that's getting Cam Jordan a heck of a wide window here to try to get around. I think it's Cody Mock right here.
Sure.
So how would you combat that? If we're saying we're just getting as wide as we can, we are saying we have our pass rush on the field. We got Cam Jordan at a 5 technique here, like no one playing inside of a 5 technique.
So the thing that I think a lot of offensive lines will sometimes forget is you shouldn't just leave to leave when you're dropping. You don't have to match him out there on the line of scrimmage. You just have to have the right angle. And in this case, the right tackle can sit and take, because he's going to take a more vertical pass drop because he's so wide. He can take a vertical pass drop and have a strong inside hand to help if Cam Jordan's coming hard. And just, he's not, it's a spatial awareness thing. It's not just leaving your man to leave your man and then put your guard on an island. It's, be just a wall, even just another man that he's got to fight through. And as you're kicking, your eyes are out here, but you've got that strong inside hand to try and help your guard a little bit. Now, Cam Jordan's a bad dude, right? He's the baddest man on the preview shows, when it's Bears Saints.
Yeah.
But even the best guys are going to have a tough time coming through 2 linemen, especially if they have good spatial awareness as they drop. And that's further highlighting, too, I think, why offensive line chemistry is so important, because it's understanding where the guy around you is going to be. And that just comes with repetition and time together.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sorry, I got caught a little off guard by Tony in the comments. I need to apologize. I am a Blackhawks fan.
I saw that comment. I thought about saying
something. I am a Blackhawks fan. I live in Philadelphia. My wife's uncle got me this as a gag joke. I drink water out of it. I'm sorry.
It's a nice. Hey, it's still a nice cup. I mean,
exactly.
I support it.
Exactly. I got another one here. It's just dirty. But
that's the nicest cup the Flyers have had since the 70s when they last won the Stanley Cup.
It really is, Ron. It really is. But anyways, let's see how this plays out here. Now that we have designated, we're basically just running man on man with this. Widest guys get widest guys, next in get next in, and then the center and the running back get the 2 inside guys. They bring all 6, And Ron,
A little stunty stunt.
exactly like you said.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to match out wide.
Mm-mm.
He can help in there,
Mhm.
recognize what the Saints are trying to do here, because once again, I imagine Dennis Allen's defensive line was trying to do exactly what I said. Widen out that tackle and get Cam Jordan an easy win around the edge. That helps allows Mock to set his hands inside and anchor in. And Bucky, our boy Bucky, the Chicago legend, Bucky Irving out of Hillside, goes in there and just cleans that up.
It's a beautiful block.
Very well done on the protection side.
Oh yeah. This is
beautiful.
This is chef's kiss, no notes. Like this is good stuff. This will make a grown offensive line coach cry. I don't mind a little holding from the left guard either. If you're going to fall, take the guy with you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. You kidding? You know how angry I would be if that got called a hold on my team.
Oh, livid, absolutely livid. Yeah, just let them fall to the ground together. Yeah, this is a play. It's not a bad ball from Baker either. That's just a tough play. But they absolutely picked it up correctly. Like that's how I would draw it up. That's how they picked it up. A thing of beauty. Good shit, Tampa Bay. Good shit.
All right, so we got another. I think this is the Broncos. This is how he's attacking a rookie.
This is also how he's attacking old boy Sean Payton,
yeah,
who he knows well, right? So this is probably a fun chess match. That's the thing about NFL, because all these guys know each other so well because it's such a small knit league. Like sometimes you might look at like the schedule and see Saints Broncos and it's like, what a block game. But then you go, oh wait, but Dennis Allen and Sean Payton are boys and they know each other. It's a chess game the whole game, and like that's awesome.
One thing to point out here, and Ron, I'm always curious about this.
Sure.
Can this play in the protection at all? When you see something like this late, especially?
Absolutely. As long as you're not in your cadence, getting ready to snap the ball, if you see that guy, because O-linemen will keep their heads up, and really, really smart receivers will call that out. As soon as that guy starts to inch inside and they see it, they'll wave their hand at the quarterback or point or whatever, and then the quarterback, hey, easy, 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 easy. He can get up to the line and call it back. Because absolutely, if that guy's bluffing, especially when you've only got two other guys on that side of the field, and you've got that deep safety that's got a hell of an angle to get over there if he's really over the top, I'm betting that guy's coming. And if he doesn't come, whatever, so be it. So that would definitely could play into the protection for sure.
Ron, I too am betting he's coming because I see shoulders are turned. Same time.
Yeah. Shoulders are turned. He's starting to come to the middle of the field.
Yeah, he says, I'm moving over to cover before the snap happens. Like,
yeah, because it's going to be
right there, right? That's your debit and your credit coming at you.
Yeah, yeah. But again, that's what defense is. All football is spacing. If you vacate a space, you need to fill said space, right? So if a guy's coming, something else is coming over the top. You just got to be able to watch out for it. It's that recognition.
Okay, so let's see. So they had the back motion in. Bo Nix is yelling, kill, 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 can. I don't know. It just looked like a no signal to me.
No!
Yeah, that's how I imagined he sounded. Just
no, not that. Anything but that.
All right, so Ron, O-line coach.
Yeah.
How are you teaching this one?
So this one, I like what Bo Nix has. He's got Williams on the right side of the protection. Obviously, we're looking at this in an inverse view, but he's got him on the head. We'll call it the heavy side for sake of the example. Mm-hmm. You've got one down lineman.
Loves these wild splits on lay downs.
He
loves to get one guy wide and a trio over and really narrow splits.
You got an A gap, B gap, C gap on one side of the football, and then just a C gap on the other with a backer hovering in the B gap.
Over Quinn Miners like that, or I guess that's not Quinn Miners. That's Ben Powers, maybe. Never mind. Powers. Yeah.
So
it's a hell of a bet with a linebacker on Miners, but I mean on anyone, any linebacker on a guard is not really a good matchup. But Miners is just a nasty,
especially not in today's NFL where backers aren't as big as they used to be.
Yeah.
If this was the 90s and early 2000s when
we're talking Brian Urlacher out there.
Eddie Bruschi,
and
Ray
Roquan
Lewis.
Smith.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's very few
fact,
linebackers.
That's it was Kevin Mawai. This is one of my
Yeah.
favorite Brian Urlacher comments of all time, just because it puts two of the greats up against each other in comparison. Kevin Mawai would say that he would rather or he disliked playing Brian Urlacher more than Ray Lewis because Brian Urlacher would get nasty in the trenches and Ray Lewis would run around guys.
Yeah, I can see that.
That just always makes my heart feel warm.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate Brian Urlacher and what he was as a linebacker for sure. I think here too, the advantage you have is you have the tight end who can at least chip that outside rusher.
Yeah.
If he's going out on a pass pattern.
When you're saying outside rusher, do you mean 14 or do you mean 19?
14. He could chip 96 too. If 14 bails, he absolutely could. Or if he has a route over the middle, he absolutely could chip 96.
Yeah, just if he's cutting inside already, like on a little crosser.
Definitely. And I would say in this instance, because there's really, I'm going to call it no linebacker coming per se, because Davis is on the other side. Mm-hmm. And that's just a two-man game out there. That's as simple as that. It's if your guy comes, he's yours. If he doesn't come, look for work. The center's sliding and taking the player in the A gap, so number 90. Your guard sliding to the B gap. Your center or your right tackle is sliding to the C gap. And then your back has the outside man. And then they just got to sift it out. If there's a game, if there's a stunt, you just got to talk it out. But that's how I would block this here is you're locked on the backs on the left side. We've got 4 for 4 over here. Because if 29 comes, the play's probably gone by the time he gets even close. So I'm not worried about 29. It's just whoever's on the line of scrimmage. We got 4 for 4. Really, we got 5 for 4 because of the tight end. And then we got 2 and 2 on the backside. That's exactly how I would draw it up.
But that's how you generate a free run from the corner, who we saw earlier, though, right?
Yes, if that guy's coming off the edge. But that's the instance where you then are betting on something quick to come available, and it's just that's the quarterback's guy.
Which is a fair bet. You're saying
when you got a bunch with a
3 wide receiver bunch on 2 guys.
In this case, if I'm the offense, what I'm teaching going into the week, what I'm teaching my quarterback is when you check, and if we have a bunch trips look like this, that most inside guy on the bunch is just running a bubble. Mm-hmm. And the other 2 are flying off and just getting ready to block because that's the out. That's the quick out. Boom, get rid of it and let your playmakers be playmakers in space.
Right. Especially with Davis pinched up like that.
Because he's even if
a lot of ground, even if it's just a little like that. I guess it's not that much ground, but
yeah, if he gets out there though, I trust my athletes to at least be able to now I wouldn't even run that necessarily Q. I don't even need him going downfield.
Were you saying literal bubble?
A little bubble
like that? Okay.
And then the other 2 guys are just running off and getting ready to block downfield because then with my receiver catching the bubble with forward momentum off of Bo Nix, I'll take him one-on-one against Davis. I don't need him to score a touchdown. I just need him to get positive yards. And
that's a lot of that's it. More realistically, the safety who's creeping over is probably the guy who has the better shot at him, or
who's actually going to make
Davis,
the tackle.
Because Davis is going to have a lot of pursuit there to actually matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's clear this off and see how this goes. You got me laughing with the no.
Are they trying to set up a running back screen here?
It looks like they might be.
Oh.
No. Yeah. No. Did they just lose their blocks that badly?
Maybe, because Bo Nix is running for his life.
Okay, where did this go wrong? Let's watch the left side, left tackle, left guard. So Demario Davis is cut. He goes back into coverage.
Yep.
So the corner surprises the left guard there. And so my thought process here is you're telling Chase Young get wide and just let your corner find some edges because he's quicker, smaller, and he's going to be able to squeak through somewhere.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what it is here. And the guard just stops moving his feet too, which
Yeah.
is not great. But
I think the guard was really surprised by it. Probably didn't. I would guess he didn't have any communication of him being out there.
nope, which is not good.
Actually, I mean, he gets his head around right here. He just deer in the headlights, I guess.
Yeah, and he just right there he stops moving his feet upon contact.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to swallow him up.
Because the right side, let's see, we got what 4-on-4 over here, pretty much.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, you got the little stunt in the middle that I think ultimately. Oh, that's just a nice move. Is that Brian Brees?
Brzee? Yeah, it is Brzee. Yeah, it's pronounced Brzee. Who I'm a bit of a Brzee hater, but
that's a nasty move. Though
he has his moments. I think I'm a hater because I just want to see it more.
Yeah, because that's gross against a guard.
So this is what I'm really interested to see who plays his role in the Dennis Allen defense, because the Saints scheme stuff up for Brzee all the time.
Yeah,
constantly. He was always looping. This is a rare occasion where he was kind of the spike man on the loop, not the looper. But all the time he was looping. He was getting opportunities to find space and go make plays. And I'm curious if they see that as like a Shamar Turner.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think that could be Shamar Turner or maybe even Javon Dexter?
See, I think Dexter's too good at spiking guy. Like I think he brings too much pure power to the table. Where he could play this role, I just think it's almost harder to find someone like. I think you can find a guy to play that role really well, and you can't find the guys around him as easily.
So that's okay. Let me build off a question then for you, Q, because you've been watching this, and I think you admittedly have a better feel for defense in terms of Dennis Allen defense than I do. If Brzee is being schemed up so much, and he's like who becomes the consistent penetrator, right? Like, how do you define that role in the Dennis Allen defense? Because I look at that defensive front and like Cam Jordan to me is not a real like D tackle. He's almost like a hybrid D end.
He is 100%. Because frankly, Cam Jordan gets schemed up a lot too. The guys who get schemed up a little less, I would say, are in what I've noticed are Granderson and Chase Young, and then some of their other less heralded defensive tackles, who are more the dirty work guys. We're not going to see many of them on these third downs because, as you can tell, they run light on third downs. You know, they have their pass rushers out there. Really, he schemes up a lot for his interior guys, I think, in general, because you have Cam Jordan playing a lot of those interior snaps on third down.
Right.
So I guess like typically when I've seen Brzee, he is playing the role of 94 here. He's playing more of the Cam Jordan role than the actual spiker trying to take two blockers with him. Right. I think the spiker taking two blockers with him, that's Javon Dexter to me.
Okay. And then maybe Turner is more of your Jordan here. And then what is Andrew Billings done to that defense? Is he just a first and second only?
Andrew Billings don't play forever and ever, brother.
Okay. I'm just making sure. We're just making sure. Like, hey, I like watching the big man move around, you know?
To me, I would say this is Shamar Turner.
Okay.
This is Javon Dexter.
Okay. Montez.
This is Montez. And this is Deo.
Okay.
That would be my third down theory, at least, of where this stuff sits.
I completely forgot they signed Deo. Like I keep
forgetting
that happened.
Yeah.
It happened so long ago. I keep forgetting that happened. Okay. Okay. I like that. Yeah, this is just not great blocking. I mean, that's the right read. Troutman's absolutely the guy to go to the ball. It's really the ball.
7-4 just loses the rep in my mind here, because I mean, even like Miners gets beat, but it wouldn't have mattered.
No. They've got the throwaway fast enough for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Troutman's wide open. I mean, he's got an opportunity to get first. Oh yeah, this looks fun. 3 to the wide side. This means we have a tight end on the back side. Yeah, we do. Okay.
Once again, we got Yeah.
So this is almost the same look.
Only two actually showing like I'm definitely in coverage.
this look Q is almost actually not even almost. This is the exact look we saw them against the Eagles on the first play.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll see it when we get to the tight. It's the exact same look because it's a trio to the wide side. There's that DB that walks in next to Young.
Yeah.
23 walks down.
3-3 like bunch here.
And then you're 1-2-3 off the edge with that inside receiver. This is the exact same thing they ran against the Eagles.
Okay, so are you protecting it the same way as we said with the Eagles?
No, that's a fun question because Dennis Allen's going to throw wrinkles into this. He's not going to run it the exact same way all the time.
He knows you saw that tape.
Yeah, he knows we've been watching film. And especially, too, because, like, and maybe this is ignorance, so I will apologize in advance to fans of the player. I don't know how good of a pass blocker J.K. Dobbins is. So I don't know how much here I want to rely on him necessarily to take on, say, number 20. I forget his name, but
Pete Werner.
Pete Werner, thank you. I don't know if I feel probably better with him against Warner than I do against Davis. So if I see this look, I'm like, okay, maybe you can take on Werner. I also want to see what are you doing with the tight end here? Because to me, there's a world where he can at least chip on Chase Young, and then you really give your tackle all the time in the world to figure it out on that side. Yeah. And here's the thing, too. If Dobbins is taking Warner in this situation, right? This is a little different than what we saw, in my opinion, the last time, right? Because I think Davis being on the other side really changes the game, believe it or not. Now, what is my left guard going to do? Is my left guard like, do we want Dobbins working outside? Because I think my guard's got a good angle on Werner here, but then can still get depth and help. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, like maybe if you're asking the running back to get him,
yeah,
I can like feel more okay about that. But like in reality, I'm sitting here going, I feel a lot more comfortable with the tight end and the back doing that. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like I see too many instances where that just goes utterly and horribly wrong when the running back and the tight end try to get a guy, or two tight ends try to get a guy, and it's just like they're knocking each other off the block and the guy's getting a free run.
I think what I'm doing here, Q, especially because we watched the film, right? We've seen this look. I'm having my tight end chip on whoever he can get a piece of. My tackle has to drop and just figure it out. And just get depth. Because one of those two guys is probably not coming. More likely than not. Depth. And because if both of them come, Werner's not coming. So then Dobbins can adjust and take the other guy. Mm-hmm. So that's how I would treat it. It would be Dobbins has Werner, but if Werner doesn't come, it means one of the other two outside guys is coming. Look outside. And then it's just Slater's got to take whoever's most dangerous on the left side. I would then have the left guard start the slide here. He's got to come and overtake the nose, especially because we know gaps, right? That nose is probably coming over the top into the backside A gap. Yeah. That's an easier block for my guard than it is for my center. Then my center can work with him, but then watch for Davis. And if Davis doesn't come, then the center can leave and come and help, and then you can just let your right side guys get depth and try to pick up whoever they can. You're not drawing it on the screen, though, so you know, Q.
Of course, I'm not. First time in a while. Let's see. Let me mimic this.
And then maybe dotted lines to the outside. Yeah, that's perfect. Or even that. Yep.
And then I had him overtaking the center.
Yep.
And I had him helping
to draw
whoever comes in outside.
Yep. And then
I just had them get depth.
Bingo. And there it is. And because if all three guys come on the other side, Davis is one-on-one with a receiver. So there could be a quick hot route there that doesn't even have to get back to the tight end.
Yeah.
The tight end could strictly be there just to run guys off.
Yeah.
On the side. Because truly, if Davis is dropping, especially because if all three are coming on that side, Davis is probably dropping more to the hash than he is to the middle of the field. I have Palmer running a just across and over. And if that tight end's able to take that safety with him,
Yeah.
you probably got a shot right down that hash, roughly. Maybe a little on the outside of the hash.
Okay. Let's see how this plays out. So we got Davis dropping, like you said, out to the hash.
Yep.
We got Werner dropping too.
Yep. So
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the way they're blocking this just like the Eagles did, with the center locked on that nose tackle.
They're running where's the center going? It's got to be a screen, right?
Yep, that's 100% a screen.
Yeah,
that was a bad time for a screen.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I didn't actually pay attention to whether it was a screen or not when I was picking these out. It looks like I guess he was just trying.
It's a screen.
Justin Herbert. Oh boy.
It's 100%.
Oh boy,
screen.
What are you doing here, buddy? Okay. So that whole, let's see. I mean, the protection kind of just gets rocked on the screen concept, I guess. Because what?
Yeah, because the back's not able to leak out. That's the biggest thing. If the back leaks out, Justin Herbert might be able to make a throwaway and get it to Dobbins.
I love that, though, from the Dennis Allen perspective of this.
Oh, yeah.
That's a real fuck 'em mentality. Mm-hmm. And that's something, I don't feel like the Bears really mess up a lot of screens. I don't feel like they just get their hands on guys and say, screw you, man. Like that's a Dennis Allen kind of mentality out there.
I also really like the fact that he's ballsy enough to bring two DBs and drop your backers.
I love it, man. You know what my favorite thing to do is in NCAA?
Drop the backers and blitz the nickel corner.
Zero blitz and drop my defensive tackle deep middle. It confuses the shit out of that computer, man.
They don't know what to do. They're like, what?
They're like, what the fuck is this?
Why is the D tackle 5 yards downfield?
I kill their hot routes constantly. It's beautiful.
That's electric. I love it. Yeah, this is borderline diabolical, man. I really don't like how the Chargers block this. I really don't.
I think that Justin Herbert struggles with blitzes.
I think so too.
Just based on watching Dennis Allen against him, I think that he has a hard time processing all this and making the calls, and I think he's tasked with making the calls.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait, let's see. Let's note what. Yes, we got 7 guys up on the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm. It looks like a cover 4.
We got like 3-by-1. Dennis Allen will throw little quarters at you. Not much, but like he'll just a few wrinkles here.
Well, and that easily could be just a distraction, and because there's a slot player on, in this case, the left side of the field, but it would be the right side of the field from the offensive perspective. This might just be he might be rolling to a cover 1 with man.
He might be. I mean,
and then your backers are
he rolls a lot of
middle zone.
Like he plays a lot of 2 high out of 1 high and a lot of 1 high out of 2 high. So like he is going to make your quarterback work.
Like I could see, you kind of see Tyrann Mathieu start to retreat too. Yeah. I bet you that's exactly what it is. He's got deep middle and everybody else is man.
Yeah. So if you are the center, I think it was Nate Tice was talking about that, or Mike Tice on Nate Tice's show was talking about this, about how he needs his centers to understand coverage.
Yeah.
And to read the coverage. If you're, I mean, this isn't a center, but say if you're the tackle and you see that, does that change your thoughts on, and you see this back pedal, does that change your thoughts on this guy with the tight end right there?
I think it changes my thoughts really, I mean.
Or does it not change your thoughts at all because you've already been thinking about this guy with the tight end or someone having to cover the tight end?
Well, so this is a different play now, right?
Yeah, this is now the same.
Okay, then the last one. Yeah. Because okay. So this is a new look though, because that last one, the tight end was on the left side of formation. So okay, got it. Yeah, I think if I'm looking at this new one now, especially understanding coverage, I know it's man. So either the corner's man with the tight end or he's coming. Which to me, that would just be, hey, if he comes, block him, and if he doesn't, run your route. And then you can play.
So that's just an option on the tight end side at that point.
And then from there you can play just traditional 6-man protection here because you have the back, and you could say, okay, back you have linebacker, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so we're talking back to Werner again.
Yep.
And then
out
we're talking guard to him, tackle to him.
Head up, you're by yourself. Out, tight end.
And then the tight end will get the guy if he's coming. If not, run whatever.
Well, and the beauty, I was going to say the beauty of it is here. If you understand coverage, you see that back pedal. He's playing deep middle. Yeah. It's probably man in this situation. And even if the backers bail, like it still's probably man. So if that's the case, that corner's probably coming. If I'm the tight end, you just got to be smart enough to know that ball's coming to you probably right away. And it's going to be quick because you are probably the hot player in this game in this situation.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see how this goes.
We've also reached the part where I haven't watched these yet, so this is just raw. This is how I would do things.
Okay, so we got 6 coming, right? No, 5.
Nope, just 5 coming. Both backers bail. He loves it so much.
The Pete Werner threw me here. I thought those false steps kind of forward.
Yeah, I think that's intentional. He's trying to make it look like he's coming, and even he almost makes it look like he's like crossing before he runs across and just tries to take away the flat.
Okay,
this is so crazy nonsense.
Yeah, where is?
Because Davis is dropping to like borderline deep middle, and Werner's almost taking away the flat on that side, which would essentially be the responsibility of the nickel corner, who's now blitzing.
Yeah, he is dropping like a deep middle.
Yeah, and then Werner's scraping across. This is like, and
Werner almost looks like he's man on the tight end.
Werner is man on the tight end, and then you got Davis dropping.
This is probably like one robber.
Yes, that's exactly what this is. Yeah, because your robber is Davis, and then you got that cover 1 with Matthew with man everywhere else.
Okay, so question for you, Ron.
Sure.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Goes and picks up 0. Do you think that was the plan all along, or it looks like Slater was also looking at 0, or is there trust there between them that like, okay, well, Chase Young is right here. I got to get Chase Young, and the running back's got to get 0.
I think there's miscommunication because I think Chase Young beats Slater here, and Slater looks like he's not ready for it. I
mean, it looks like his helmet's he's looking at 0.
Yeah,
and he feels Chase Young on his edge and goes, "Oh shit, I need to do something."
I think he thinks the guard's coming with him, and once the guard's not, he's oh crap, I got to go fix this now.
The guard seems locked on Werner here.
Yeah, and then instead of kicking out because Werner makes it look like he's coming on a cross, might draw that guard with him.
So maybe, I mean, if the guard is on 20, either miscommunication or, I mean, the protection was always the running back going outside here.
I think the protection was always the running back going outside, but I think because of where Werner was, I wonder if Slater thought he was going to have guard help.
But once again, though, generate a free run with one of your fastest guys on the field.
Yeah.
By only bringing 5.
It's
a heck of a business if you can get into it, Ron.
You know who's going to have a lot of fun in this defense? I can see it now. Kyler Gordon, dude. Kyler Gordon might lead.
I think Brisker's going to too if he can stay on the field.
I think Brisker's going to have a field day. I think that's why Gordon's going to be, because remember Dennis Allen making the comments that, well, Gordon's going to play something other than just nickel. I bet you Gordon's going to be a lot of times the safety. So Brisker can be. So So that way you have a Brisker who can be that
Oh,
physical
I see. Okay.
rusher.
Yeah. I sorry, I misunderstood. I was thinking
No,
that because you could have Gordon and Brisker kind of both playing a CJ Gardner Johnson type role at different times and different. You can just muck it up.
You can get really weird with it.
Yeah,
Really weird with it, man.
It's another one. We got 7 up on the line of scrimmage. So like a 3-by-1 condensed to the field side.
Yeah, they're bringing it in to make it tighter.
Yeah,
Trying to identify what's happening here.
let's talk this one out. See if we get any late movement here.
I mean, this is again effectively that same front. I think the thing that I would game plan, what I'm learning, is more often than not, Dennis Allen wants to drop his backers.
You know what's interesting about this one? Even splits on the D line.
Yeah,
You don't see that much from him.
yeah, you got a very traditional, just 3-man front, effectively filled in with backers and outside players.
So, would you think this one pretty straight up with the running back and the outside guy, or the running back getting inside, and then you're asking your guys to get wider? Sorry, inside.
Probably based on how they approached the last play, I would say it was Dobbins to get the outside guy.
Okay.
This is
playing
and that's exactly how they play it.
This is the quarterback's man.
Either that's the quarterback's man because you have a bunch on that side, or you have 3 men to that side with only 2 men in coverage. You're banking on a guy being free, or you're banking on that guy bluffing.
Now, let me ask you this. If you're hottest that left side, do you not want a free rusher from that side?
I think you're still okay with a free rusher, though, from that side because the hot throw is so fast.
Okay.
I think you're okay with it.
I know I've heard in the past certain people say that there are rules over you don't want hot on the side that you're on the side where the free runner's coming from. But
Sure.
like I've always felt like that was kind of at the NFL level.
Yeah.
That might not really be true.
Yeah, I think at the NFL level, it doesn't matter because it's so quick.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's different ways you can attack it, though. Like, the way I think of it is I'd rather my hot be to the side where I think the free rusher is, because then if he drops into coverage, I know my quarterback can go through his progression.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, and again, maybe that's not how other people think. I think that's the beauty of football, right? Everybody can think it differently. That's at least how I would think it.
What is the cost of calling a hot when you don't need it?
It depends. I know that's not the answer you were hoping for, but it depends. I think there's certainly a cost to it, especially if everything else is a long developing route. Yeah. Or if like that tight end's staying in the block, then it's definitely a waste. But if the tight end's going out on a pattern here, especially if he's coming across the middle of the field, and then maybe you have kind of a levels concept where maybe it's a 5, a 10, and a 15, then it's just pure progression for your quarterback. And right. you might burn the hot guy, but then at least the hot guy takes up. If one doesn't come, he just takes him up and out of the play then. And then you're still working 10 on 10.
Okay. All right, let's see how this progresses. Let's see what we get here. And once again, you will very rarely see him bring more than 5. 5 is 6 on occasion, but like he's not going over 5 often. It's just a question of which 5.
I'll tell you what, I'm getting very familiar with the Dennis Allen, Brian Flores-like defenses of the world for a variety of reasons. A lot of film watching on those teams. But yeah, it's funny because you develop patterns then, right? And then you can take calculated bets if you're an OC of saying, well, more often than not, they're probably only bringing 5.
Yeah.
So let's take our, and especially if there's a trend, right? If I know the trend is that the linebackers are dropping more often than not, I'm not as worried about them. I'm just telling my guys, hey, look, give them a check to make sure if they come, you got to take them because most dangerous is, inside. But then just play football and go be an athlete and get out there and help your guy. Yeah, how is this Chargers? How is this Chargers O-line not better? Like, you got
Not
two
what?
just better. Because I feel like you have two stud tackles.
They have 3 top 15 picks on this O-line.
That's what
Their
I'm saying.
left guard, Zion Johnson, or maybe he was like 20 something, but he was a first round.
He was
guard.
a first rounder, right? I mean, you got 3 first-round picks on that O-line. I don't know.
Rashawn Slater's awesome. I mean, Joe Alt's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
It's really the interior that has crushed them.
It just goes to show why the Bears did what they did with the interior line.
Yeah, hopefully Jonah Jackson is that guy. That's my one nervous spot.
Here's the thing, though, I will say, because we all know that Darnell Wright's a guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got 3 dudes in the sense of, I know Dahlman might not necessarily be like a dude, but you know what you're getting out of him. If Tooney can be a dude, if Wright can be a dude, and as long as Jackson and Dahlman are competent, that's more than adequate.
Yeah, no, my concern with Dahlman is more about health than anything. Like, it's just he's missed games each last 2 years. But like when he's on the field, he's gonna be a fine pass protector and a plus run blocker. Like,
definitely,
I'm all for that. Now, Ron, is this disrespectful?
Maybe a little bit.
This alignment,
8 men on the line when it's a 4-man. When you've got 4 wide with a bunch to the left and a back, and you've got 8 on the line, this
feels like a big middle finger to me.
You're like, go ahead, I dare you. Do whatever you want to do, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Evil. I like it, though.
Like, this is why we need the sideline view on these, because
it really impacts how
the end zone does not do this justice.
No, it really doesn't. And again, one thing I want to preface, the high school and college levels, you ain't going to see a lot of shit like this. Mm-hmm. And even if you do, there's enough ways to get around it and figure it out. And like, because the NFL is so detailed, that's when you can do crazy shit like this. And like, this front becomes an entirely different defense every single play.
Yeah, totally. And Scott in the comments, and I don't know if the Bears have the talent inside on the line to make Allen's defense work. I mean, typically I would be pretty skeptical. I'm not sure the Saints interior D line was all that talented last year. Like, Brian Brzee is fine. He's athletic. He is an asset with his athleticism and his general skill, but like, he's not just destroying people all that often. He's not that big, strong, powerful monster in the middle of your defense. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I mean, Kalen Sanders, they had Shy Tuttle there for years. He's kind of made a lot of stuff work without a lot of talent on the interior. Now, Grant, big portion that you had prime Cam Jordan. That's different.
You need to have like at least one just dude.
Yeah, and that's what worries me, that maybe they don't have that dude on the edge, or like, I think Grady Jarrett's going to be interesting to me, because I do think he's going to be on a lot lighter of a snap count, which what you can get out of that, but like, I hate counting on that as your dude, you know?
Can I ask you a question, Q?
Yeah.
Do you think, because I expect Dennis Allen to do a lot of weird, crazy shit. I genuinely do. Do you think there's a world where multiple of the Bears defensive linemen are schemed in multiple different ways? And what I mean by that is, 1/3 down, Montez Sweat is playing the Chase Young role, and then another one he's playing the Cam Jordan role and rushing from the inside.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all on the table, frankly.
Or Dio, even kind of, because he's a big D end.
Bears D line right now, and I'm seeing Javon Dexter, Shamar Turner, Dio Odeyingbo, Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett. I see 5 guys who can play just about anywhere on this front. Like, we're talking. He was playing 290-pound Brian Brzee at 0 tech on 3rd downs. Like, there's a lot on the table for the way they're going to align this thing down in, down out. At least on passing downs, on 3rd downs, it's going to be tough to defend. It's going to be tough to block.
Like, am I crazy to think there's a world where like there might be first and second downs when they're playing against the run where like Jervon Dexter could be a D end?
No, I think he'd love. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked one bit by rushing downs with Dexter, Turner, or Dio playing end. Those guys are all 280 plus.
And then Jarrett and Billings being your inside guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really think Dexter is going to be a very versatile piece on this D line.
I think so too.
Because he's already shown the versatility and the acumen to handle it.
And he also cut weight.
Did he cut weight again?
Well, he's lean though, right? Like he looks a lot leaner. I think that lends to the Dennis Allen defense. Genuinely, like look at the guys that they have on this front.
Yeah.
They all look relatively the same, right? In a lot of ways. Maybe that's why Grady Jarrett was him and Dio were such important pieces to go get. He just needs those big pieces that can move around.
Yeah. I mean, his scheme has never been about quick pressure as much as scheme pressure. It's never been about winning one-on-one matchups as much as just doing your job, creating chaos with confusion, and needing the back end to hold up.
Yeah.
Like I think he requires more talent at corner and safety than he does on the D line.
I agree. And I think that works for the Bears because you have Tyreek Stevenson and Kyler Gordon, and now you have Zoff Frazier as additional depth, and you've obviously got Jalen Johnson, who's one of the best. There's a lot of people. And Kevin Byard. I think Kevin Byard's still a fantastic safety for this defense. I think they're going to do a lot of fun, weird nonsense. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, I have some questions about how the Bears D-backs are going to fit in this defense, I guess. But I think that they have the talent. I just need to see it happen. After last year, all the talk about the Bears having the best secondary in the NFL or a top 5 secondary, I need to see proof before I'm buying it again. But I think the talent is there. And I think the coach is there. So I think they should be able to get there. I'm just scared and hurt.
I feel that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to have questions, and that's what's going to make I think the season so much fun is feeling out who plays what roles.
Yeah. Now let's see. How are you looking at this, Ron? I feel like we need to do it from this sideline view because
everybody's so
wild. You're just getting the 5 most dangerous, and that's that. But then you got what's the back doing? Just kind of scanning for you got the overload on the right side, the side the back's on. Is that he's just scanning that?
I would say probably, because the way I'm looking at it is you've got your 4. We're treating number 6 here as a quote unquote down lineman. You've got your 4 down linemen as from Young to Granderson. I would be looking at that and saying, okay, well, you got your 4 down, but you've only got 2 extra on the others. You got 2 extra on each side, but you have an extra receiver to the left side. So if we're just playing the numbers game, I agree. The back's looking right if the pressure comes first. If not, he's looking back to the left and cleaning up. And then I would just treat this as protect the 5 most dangerous.
Okay. So about as simple as it gets then, even though it's the opposite of simple when you're looking at it, but
100%. But sometimes
the more complicated it gets, the more simple you need it to be sometimes, right?
Sometimes simplicity.
You're saying we're starting with that, and then basically we're scanning, right?
Yep.
We're just looking for what's breaking through.
Yep, exactly. And again, sometimes in these situations, you need to just get back to the basics and your fundamentals, and it's just, again, sometimes the defense is going to win, but if you see this coming, you're hoping somebody on your outside can win because somebody should have a numbers advantage, whether it's because of a tough coverage you're asking from, a Pete Werner or somebody like that in this situation. You're asking something tough of somebody to be able to do this look, and you're just banking on your quarterback making the right decision. Diabolical to drop Chase Young. Absolutely diabolical. But I'll tell you what, I'm not surprised because I'm getting real used to seeing a lot of DNs dropping.
Yeah, you got to get used to it for this defense. There's going to be a lot of why the hell is Montez Sweat in coverage moments.
Oh, yeah,
there
it's
will
funky.
also be moments where there's a sack because he's in coverage and he's the one guy who took something away just by standing there.
Bingo.
Like my defensive tackle in NCAA, just standing 5 yards from the line.
Standing there.
I got a pick with him once.
That's fantastic. I love that so much. Do you have that highlight saved somewhere? Like, is that something we could share?
I don't think I do.
Oh,
but man,
that would be amazing.
I wish I did now.
Just the big 300-pound fat boy just running with the football.
So they slide it. They slide the 3 men left. Which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I think so. Based on the way I see this, they're treating this like a kind of a quote unquote true 6-man protection. I think they're banking on one of those 2 backers bailing. I think that's what's being banked on here. This also could have just been called incorrectly by Bryce Young because he is a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Like that's something to be said. I think that's something that people need to keep in mind when people like to bitch and moan. The clip that you and I were talking about, Q, that Steve shared about from the University of Miami.
Yeah.
Well, why is the center just letting the backer go? Because that might not be his assignment in the protection. Maybe the quarterback called the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And that's that's very possible with Bryce Young, who is still getting acclimated to playing against NFL defenses, and maybe he's being asked to call something. Maybe he's also banking on they're so wide that I might have time to deliver a throw here if that pressure does come.
Yeah, or maybe just a trend or something. I mean, you figure you got Chase Young and Brian Brzee. I'm assuming that is. You figure those 2 are coming, like when you're calling your protection. I guess it makes some sense. I don't know. Slide left just feels odd to me here.
I agree.
I don't know why, even though it's even numbers in the line of scrimmage. Oh, I know why. Because you got the trips to that side.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I'm betting I'm with you. This is probably a busted call or something because
something goofy
even
happened here.
64 even knows it. Like he gets out there and he's like, "What the hell am I doing out here?"
Yeah, he's like, "What? Where is everybody?"
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oops.
Just got to get it away.
Okay.
That's a win. It's a good defensive win. It doesn't always have to be a sack, Q. Sometimes it can just be a throwaway.
We're going to see a lot of them, I hope, because I see
so.
a lot of them on the Saints tape. Even like, man, Dennis Allen got fired. This defense was eating.
Mm-hmm.
This defense was eating even though he got fired. Like, I mean, I guess the first 5 weeks, I was very impressed by what I saw from this defense. And they're a talented unit, but like, okay, this is probably what I'm missing. Week 6 against Tampa, which I didn't chart. They gave up 51 points.
Yeah.
So,
but I'll tell you what, though.
Downhill there.
I'll tell you what, though. It goes to show that certain schemes work better against Dennis Allen's defense. I think the Liam Cohen Tampa scheme works better because to me, they had more success in the David Canales and Liam Cohen years than they did when, Brady first got there and it wasn't necessarily the same group.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I can buy that.
Because they were the only ones that protected it beautifully. And sometimes you run the right formations, though, where you prevent Dennis Allen from doing some of these weird little wrinkles just because of how you line up. And then you can trust your protection because you limit him to certain things. It's the fun chess match of football.
And then they played the Broncos and gave up 33, and that's when he was fired. But
that'll do it.
Man, I mean, they held the Eagles to 15 in week 3. Held
it's a good offense
to 19 in week 2. Held the KC, it was 26, but I mean, I don't know. The KC wasn't a monster last year, but like it's still Pat Mahomes, and they were in that game much longer than they should have been. I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited about Dennis Allen. And it's not just because I've been saying for 2 years, I hope Dennis Allen gets fired when the Bears have an opening. But
it's finally become a reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Ron, any final thoughts before we close this thing out?
This was fun, man. I hope we can do a second iteration of this or, more fun stuff over the course of the summer. I'm laying back, man. I'm getting excited for football season for a variety of different ways. I'm watching a lot of tape of my own, so maybe there's some new stuff to contribute to the Bears on Tap brand there too. But this was fun, man. It's cool to see the inner workings of the defense, and I'm genuinely looking forward to the show you and Nick do that really breaks down the Dennis Allen defense in greater detail. I can't wait to tune in, and I think everybody else should have the same anticipation level as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I've got should be no surprise to anyone. I've got a spreadsheet of all my tracking of every play that I've watched for those 5 games. So it's like I have all this data that I'm trying to figure out what matters, what doesn't. Like
there's a name for it now, Q. It's called the Butkus metrics. And it's being utilized outside of Bears on Tap. Just to have you know. Butkus stats is a real thing. Like it's, the Butkus metrics have made their way outside of Bears on Tap, man. So hey, I appreciate a good spreadsheet. And dude, it's data, right? You're collecting data, you're analyzing things. Everybody looks at things differently, but at the same time, you got to collect data somehow. What better way to do it than an Excel spreadsheet, man?
The wildest thing with it is like some of these data metrics, some of these like, they run cover 2 man X% of the time. They run cover 1 this percent of the time. They run like some of that almost feels like it can get thrown out the window because most of it's tracked by AI or like machine learning or like, it's just like location metrics, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching tape of some of Dennis Allen's defense. I'm like, I can't tell you if this is cover 3, cover 2, cover 1, or cover 2 man. Because the way they rotate and how quick the ball got out, it's just like there's no real way to differentiate some of
it.
It's just hard funny to think through that with like some of the stats that we throw out there. It's just like that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. It's tough because you think about it, when you give a weird front, typically the ball's going to get out quickly. And if you're able to get it out quickly, you're not going to get to see what they're playing as the coverage, which is almost an advantage because in the events that they change something up and they need to get to that coverage and it can't get out quickly, you just create a whole nother wrinkle for the offense to have to worry about.
Is it cover 3, Ron, or is it man match, or is it cover 1, or is it man match cover 3? You tell me. It's anyone's guess unless you're like a defensive back coach who teaches it. Like that's the only way I feel like you can tell sometimes.
And even then, I think that's kind of the beauty of defense is like there's a lot of mysteries to defense, and until you're in the trenches of it, you're kind of guessing sometimes because a lot of things look the same, right? And that's just the nature of the beast in this in the sport of the beautiful game of football.
The beautiful game of football. On that note, Ron, let's close this thing out with a good old bear down and just go have some sweet dreams thinking about offensive line and blocking.
I'm so ready for it. Bear down, Q.
Bear down. Out of practice.